What's up, Transformers fans? Mondo here, and welcome to week 19 of Moonbase 84's year-long celebration, celebrating 40 years of Grimlock and the Dinobots. So for the past 3 weeks, we've been covering the fall of Cybertron, or the Aligned Continuity Dinobots, in the IDW comic Rage of the Dinobots, so I figured it'd be cool to put a little cap to talking about the Aligned Continuity Dinobots by checking out the only official figure that we've gotten from Hasbro for those type style of Dinobots, and that of course is the fall of Cybertron Grimlock. Quickly before we jump in and take a look at Grimlock, if you could hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and all that jazz, I'd really appreciate it. So those of you who may be familiar with the fall of Cybertron Grimlock toy, you're probably saying, what the hell is he talking about? Because this isn't technically that Grimlock. This is a repaint of that Grimlock that came in a 2-pack during Age of Extinction with the Silver Knight Optimus Prime. I don't have the original Fall of Cybertron Grimlock, but this is the mold, so close enough kind of in a way. And if I remember some of the details I will that are a little different besides the deco, I will point them out. And also, he does have a gimmick where you work this lever and he opens his jaw like so, and he lights up. My batteries are dead. I couldn't get any today. I went to the store real quick before filming because I just noticed today that the batteries were dead, and it was cash only because their ATM or their transactions for card readers were down. So apologize for that, but we will carry on. Okay, so with all that out of the way, let's take a closer look at the fall of Cybertron Grimlock. He is a Voyager class, and as you can see, I have him with his weapon storage, which I don't really care for. Sword on that side, shield on that side, so that does look kind of ugly, but so we'll take that off now to check out his T-Rex mode, and they will obviously come into play during robot mode. If I can get them off. There we go. So here we go, and as you can see, besides the paint aesthetics or whatever, he looks very much like the fall of Cybertron Grimlock. If I can get him to stand, got him out of whack here a little bit. There. Difference is he is done up to emulate the original G1 Grimlock. On the fall of Cybertron, you don't get the chrome. It's like a dull gold plastic, and not the chrome. And like details like here were painted red because for the show, like the glowing energon through Grimlock, just like the designs of all the Fall of Cybertron characters, places like that. But I think he's still really cool. The thing I think that really surprised me when I first got him, he is fairly new, and I took him out of the box, forgot to check the batteries, because I didn't have a Fall of Cybertron Grimlock. I had one back in the day, and as I've mentioned, I don't like to get into it too much, but my collection was stolen. Like seriously, so I don't have him, and I picked this 2-pack because I said he comes with Silver Knight Optimus Prime for really cheap as opposed to the original figure, so I wanted to check him out and get him so I had an example. But I was really surprised because the pictures, like I got him on eBay, didn't do him justice. And as soon as I got the box and delivered and I checked out and I didn't even open him, I was like, wow, I'm more impressed than I thought I'd be with the deco. But as you can see, we'll look closer. You got the nice T-Rex head. This would light up. Again, apologies. And of course you get the gold chrome. It's really nice. Makes me nervous. Don't want to get it all scratched up and things. Some nice paneling work. You get the same sculpt that you got with Fall of Cybertron, obviously, because it is that toy. Head, some more nice chrome there. You can see pretty much like a traditional Grimlock in a lot of ways. You can see that will be his chest, those are his legs and his hands, but really nice. Of course, we get the fat Grimlock tail, and this is besides the chrome looking nicer than I thought it would, this paint deco here in the box he's in robot mode really pops. The blues, the reds, the greens, and the yellow, I really like that. I did show you the gimmick minus the light up feature. If I can get some batteries in a timely manner, I will go ahead and do a short video, either a short or a short video showing that off. His little T-Rex arms are on ball joints, so they move around. It's got bend at his knees. His little feet can move, nice chrome, gold-plated chrome feet. The thing about him that a lot of collectors don't like is because look how hollow he is. Now, I've gone on to say hollowness doesn't bother me, but in this instance, yeah, that's really ugly. That does bother me. But at the time, Hasbro was getting cheaper. We know Hasbro likes to cut corners whenever they could, and they wanted to make a Voyager apparently really, you know, for a cheap price, so they hollowed him out. But if you don't look underneath him, say Grimlock, mine is really tight, the joints and finicky. If you don't look underneath him though, he looks really cool. Or like straight on, well, if you look like that, but as soon as you go like that, ugly, but from the side, I think he's an awesome looking T-Rex. So what we're gonna do is go ahead and transform him up into robot mode, and we will take a closer look at that. So here we have Fall of Cybertron Grimlock all transformed up into robot mode, and his robot mode is where this toy really shines, and not just because of the chrome. I just think he looks awesome. Now, again, I no longer have the Fall of Cybertron Grimlock, the original, and I did like that figure, and I do believe to have the correct representation for the Fall of Cybertron game, you would, you know, I need that figure again, because, you know, they weren't all shiny, and it doesn't have the Energon paint deco, you know, running throughout him. But as a robot mode Grimlock toy, I think he looks fantastic in this mode, and I love the callback to the original G1 toy that they went with. Of course, you got the chrome chest, gold chrome again. We saw that in Dino mode, but I'm going to point it out again. And we saw this too, but I wanted to highlight it. We saw this too in Dino mode, T-Rex mode, but I wanted to highlight it. I love all the details in here. Now on the original, it was like a darker gunmetal, really dark, almost black, but of course for here you get some hits of red in there. Pretty cool, nice crisp Autobot symbol. But yeah, and now I'll mention like all the nice details in the sculpt. You get some red on the side here, if the shine doesn't you know, wash it out on the camera. Of course, the Fall of Cybertron Grimlock head, really nice. And I think it's cool that they even went as far as paint the hips red like the original toy. That's a nice touch. Get some nice detail for like the robot abs. And again, this nice sculpted work, but also the colors, the blues, the reds, the greens, and yellows like we saw in Dino mode. Just really cool. You can see his fist, you know, it's Grimlock, so the rest is well, most of it we saw in Dino mode. But again, like if it was Fall of Cybertron, the original, this would be red, this would be toned down, it's just a gold plastic. But yeah, this really pops in my opinion. And also, what I want to say is, at least they used the hollowness in robot mode. They used the dino head where a lot of Grimlocks, it hangs here. You tuck the head in to kind of fill that gap, so it's not as bad. It looks nicer in robot mode than it does in Dino mode because the gap is filled somewhat. You do see some hollowness here and here. But yeah, really cool. Now my copy is pretty new, so he is very tight. You do kind of have like a semi-butterfly because of transformation. It's a weird assembly if you can see it in there. And the thing I don't like is because mine is so tight is when you manipulate his articulation. I'm afraid because that plastic, you know, there's two pieces of plastic connected, I'm afraid it's going to snap because it's super tight, but you can get his arm out to like there and you can hear the detents, and you do get a little play on that as well. And like even here, the bicep, it's just really, really tight. Plus I'm trying to not, you know, I think chrome looks cool, but when you're messing with it, you know, it's like you do what you can not to scuff it up. I wouldn't want all my figures to be chrome. But you get a nice elbow. You get some wrist. No waist, because you saw all that hollowness and everything. His leg only does the splits like that, but he kicks. It kind of kicks out when you kick forward. You do get the thigh swivel. Cats running around. Here, these knee joints are really tight, and they do get to be a pain because this, for transformation, swings up to come to the chest. And it's just when you're trying to manipulate all this, it does get to be a pain, but it goes about 90. It's just awkward. I don't know why they engineered it like that, but looks cool. But you get some foot like that, but no tilt. So there we go. And of course, this is where we would bring the weapons in and they would make sense, which are his accessories. So you get his Energon sword. It's got the translucent red plastic. It's a nice black. Some nice sculpted detail. Just these are the same accessories from obviously the Fall of Cybertron. And you get a translucent red shield with some detail. I think the original release had some black paint in places to break it up a little bit. But yeah, pretty cool. So for the shield, you can attach it to this hole here. You put it up here, I suppose, too, in the hole there. But you know, you would probably want to put it here. And then, of course, his sword. You know, I love detents. It's just the detents are cool, but the way that assembly makes me nervous because it's tight. And then that, like I mentioned, around his knees are kind of a pain in the butt. But there's the sword, and of course, there you have it. Overall, what do I think about the Fall of Cybertron Grimlock? While he has undeniable problems and faults, I really like this figure, especially in robot mode. Maybe, I mean, I love the original one too as well, but this deco really pops, making me like it even more and forgiving my flaws, the flaws a little bit more. He just looks fantastic in robot mode, especially. His dino mode is cool from certain angles. It's a bummer that he's so hollowed out, but just look at the presence he presents in robot mode. He just looks badass to me, and the G1 aesthetic on him is really cool. So a nice addition to my Grimlock shelf, and I do have to go back and get the original one, the original Voyager Fall of Cybertron. But yeah, he really pops, so he will be, you know, he's a welcome addition to my shelf. He just looks cool. I mean, for all of his faults, he looks cool. He articulates pretty decently. I mentioned, you know, it is a pain to get him in some poses, especially because of the wonky assembly down here and how I worry about that assembly up there maybe getting brittle over time. But yeah, really nice sculpt. I know he's hollow, but to me, there's no denying how awesome he presents, especially in robot mode. That's going to wrap up, I think, what did I say was week 19 of Moonbase 84's year-long celebration, celebrating 40 years of this guy Grimlock and the Dinobots. And until next time, thanks for docking.